So you guys aren't going to believe this one. Donald Trump just came out and admitted Israel's disproportionate influence over the U.S. government and his administration. And in this clip, he had a recent speech commending the Gaza ceasefire, in which he not only did that, but he also said his most prominent and infamous donors actually love Israel above the United States, and that's where their loyalties lie. I can't tell you how crazy this is. Let's just get right into it right now. This is a speech, so let's start.
Broken promises from many other American presidents, you know that. They kept promising. I never understood it until I got there. There was a lot of pressure put on these presidents. It was put on me too, but I didn't yield to the pressure. But every president for decades said, we're going to do it. The difference is I kept my promise and officially recognized the capital of Israel and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem.
That's why you did yield to the pressure. That's exactly why you did. But just wait. It gets better. It gets better, guys.
Isn't that right, Miriam? Look at Miriam. She's back there. Stand up, Miriam. Stand up. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. They'd call me. He'd call me. I think they had more trips to the White House than anybody else I could think of. Look at her sitting there so innocently. She's got $60 billion in the bank. $60 billion, and I think she's saying no more. And she loves Israel, but she loves it. And they would come in, and her husband was a very aggressive man, but I loved him. He was very aggressive, very supportive of me. And he'd call up, can I come over and see you? I say, Sheldon, I'm the president of the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in.
Still gets in, though. Still gets in.
Were very responsible for so much, including getting me thinking about Golan Heights, which is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to Israel.
It gets even better, guys. Oh, wait. The crescendo's coming.
Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country.
This is Israel, by the way.
She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. We love you. Thank you, darling, for being here. That's a great honor. Great honor. She's a wonderful woman.
Just think of that. Just think of how preposterous that is. Him, basically coming out and admitting the disproportionate influence that the most rich and prominent Zionist donors have on his administration and on his way of doing things. Not only boasting about that, but then pointing to Miriam Adelson, who couldn't decide whether she prefers Israel or the United States, remaining silent. And that could mean Israel. This is as big of a mass drop moment for Trump as I've ever seen when it comes to Israel's influence in the U.S. and how much favor Israel curries with the U.S. You know, he listed two of those things, recognizing the Golan Heights, which weren't recognized by the United States since 1967, recognizing that acquisition, which was seized by force by Israel after completing that war, the Six-Day War, and moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, a step that in many ways precludes the enactment of a Palestinian state. You know, that's why he's celebrated by Zionists in that regard. But he also pardoned the handler of Jonathan Pollard, a CIA spy who sent, or a Mossad spy who worked at the CIA and sent U.S. secrets back to Israel, which were then sent to the Soviet Union, by the way. He shredded the JCPOA. He started a new war with Iran. The list continues. But what I thought was so striking about this message, outside of how humorous this is, I'm just thinking of, you know, a Zionist control room watching this play out, and they're just kicking the walls saying, no, Trump, that's the quiet part. That's the quiet part. You can't say out loud how much they were able to get into cahoots with you despite the fact that you're the president. You're in demand by so many people. You have so many responsibilities. But somehow these rich Zionist real estate and casino moguls can get right through the front door and influence you and get whatever they want. He boasts about how they're the most frequent visitors to the White House. I can't get over that. This Zionist control room saying, no, that's the part you're supposed to act out, not talk about. We don't talk about that, Trump. But what's so crazy, guys, is that over the years, people have said, especially the pro-Israel Zionists, that you're just this loony, anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist if you say that Israel has disproportionate influence over U.S. politics or over the Trump administration. And then here's Trump coming out in a major speech about the Gaza ceasefire, televised, covered by basically every media agent in the world, saying exactly that Israel and its cutouts, Miriam and Sheldon Adelson, have disproportionate influence over the U.S. government and his administration. That is, strikingly telling. It's one of these things where Trump just can't help himself sometimes. It doesn't seem to benefit him. There's no real constituency that benefits from this other than truth seekers, essentially, to go off on this. It's like when he goes off on, saying and bragging and boasting about how he was the architect of Operation Warp Speed and how COVID boosters are so great and we wouldn't have those duplicitous big pharma drugs that we were mandated for a time to inject into ourselves, and if not for the courts we would have, to boast about being the father of that program. It's the same thing there, but here the mask drops and you really show your duplicity. You show everything that's wrong about the U.S. acceptance of Israel's influence and apex control, and the big Zionist donors like the Adelsons getting their way on everything, including the recognition of Golan Heights, as he cited, and moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, as he stated. So that's where we're at here. I just thought this was a striking moment that I couldn't just help but laugh at, because Dave Smith is right. This is insane. This is insane because it really shows the truth. One thing that actually does when Washington's full of lies, that is exactly what this showed. And, my response was, hey, what's funny about this is that Zionists will respond to this statement by Trump the same way that they did to Charlie Kirk's decision to, quote, leave the pro-Israel cause, which were his words, by saying he's just blowing off steam. This is nothing. There's nothing to see here. There's going to be spinsters spinning this in every direction other than that was Trump actually telling the truth. The people that say that Trump always tells the truth about Israel will now be saying, nope, this was the one moment where he didn't tell the truth about Israel. That's what you're going to see here. So I just thought this was striking. It was an admission of guilt when it comes to accepting pro-Israel bribes and allowing those to supersede your own country. But that's what we get from Trump. I do want to hear from you, though. Let me know what you think about this down below. Do you think this is a mask slip moment? I'm still laughing about how preposterous this is because I just can't wait to see how they spin this thing. But let me know what you think about it down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also consider becoming a YouTube member. If you like this video or my commentary, if you click join below, you can get access to all my videos before they go live on YouTube. And I'd appreciate your support. And until I see you guys next time, no more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire. Peace out, guys. Catch you in the next one.